my dear friends. Welcome to the episode 19 of Mahabharata reading challenge. And like always, we are going to start our reading with the prayers. Shri Guru Charan Saroj Raj, Nijman Mukuru Sudhari, Barnau Raghuvar Bimal Jasu, Chu Dayaku Falchari. बुद्धहीन तानु जानी के सुमिरो पवन कुमार बल बुद्धि विद्या देहु मोहि हरहु कलेस विकार. Knowing that this mind of mine has less intelligence, I remember the son of wind, who granting me strength, wisdom and all kinds of knowledge, removes all my sufferings and shortcomings. निश्चय प्रेम प्रतीत ते विनय करे सम्मान, तेहि के कारज सकल शुभ सिद्ध करे हनुमान. जय हनुमान संत हितकारी, सुन लीजिए प्रभु अर्ज हमारी. जन की काज विलम्ब न कीजिए, आतुर दूर महासुख दीजिए. आंखें देखे मोहन मुख, सहा कहा नहीं जाए. लेख विधाता का लिखा, कौन किसे समझाए, कौन किसे समझाए. वचन दिया सोचा नहीं, होगा क्या परिणाम. सोच समझकर कीजिए जीवन में हर काम. जीवन को समझा रहा जिया हुआ इतिहास, जब तक तन में श्वास है तब तक मन में आस, तब तक मन में आस. आस कह रही श्वास से धीरज धरना सीख, मांगे बिन मोती मिले, मांगे मिले न भीख, मांगे मिले न भीख. है कथा संग्राम की, विश्व के कल्याण की, धर्म अधर्म आदि अनंत, सत्य असत्य कलेश कलंक. स्वार्थ की कथा परमार्थ की, शक्ति है भक्ति है, जन्मों की मुक्ति है. जीवन का ये संपूर्ण सार है, युग युग से कण कण में, सृष्टि के दर्पण में. वेदों की कथा अपार है, धर्मों की गाथा है, देवों की भाषा है, सदियों के इतिहास का प्रमाण है. कृष्णा की महिमा है, गीता की गरिमा है, ग्रंथों का ग्रंथ ये महान है. महाभारत महाभारत महाभारत. सुख करता दुख हरता वार्ता विघ्नाची, हो वार्ता विघ्नाची. नुरवी पूर्वी प्रेम कृपाया जायाची, सर्वांगी सुंदर उतिशे दूराची, उतिशेन दूराची. कांठी झालके माल मुक्ता फलहांची. जय देव जय मंगल मूर्ति. जय देव जय मंगल मूर्ति. दर्शन मात्रे मनोकामना पूर्ति. जय देव जय मंगल मूर्ति. हो श्री मंगल मूर्ति, दर्शन मात्रे मनोकामना पूर्ति. जय देव जय मंगल मूर्ति. Think him as Vishnu while taking medicine, as Janardhan while eating food, as Padmanabha while in bed, as Prajapati at the time of marriage, as Chakradhara while engaged in war, as Trivikrama while on travel, as Narayana on deathbed, as Sridhara while meeting with the beloved, as Govinda while tossing with bad dreams, as Madhusudana while in troubles, as Narsimha while in forest, as Jalasayana while fire is ravaging, as Varaha while struggling in water, as Raghunandan while lost in a mountain, as Vamana while on the move, and as Madhava while doing everything. ये तो प्रेम की बात है ऊधो, बंदगी तेरे बस की नहीं है. यहाँ सर दे के होते हैं सौदे, आशिकी इतनी सस्ती नहीं है. प्रेम वालों ने कब वक्त पूछा, उनकी पूजा में सुन ले ऊधो. यहाँ दम दम में होती है पूजा, सर झुकाने की फुर्सत नहीं है. जो असल में है मस्ती में डूबे, उन्हें क्या परवाह जिंदगी की. जो उतरती है चढ़ती है मस्ती, वो हकीकत में मस्ती नहीं है. जिनकी नज़रों में है शाम प्यारे, वो तो रहते हैं जग से न्यारे. जिसकी नज़रों में मोहन समाए, वो नज़रें फिर तरसती नहीं है. कर्पूर गौरम करुणा अवतारम, संसार सारम भुजगेंद्र हारम, सदा वसंतम हृदय रविंदे, भवम भवानी सहितम नमामि. I bow to Bhavani as well as to Lord Shiva, who is white as camphor, who is compassion incarnate, who is the essence of the world, who wears a garland of large snake, and who always dwells in the lotus-like hearts of his devotees. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. जब याद तुम्हारी आती है मैं तेरे दर पर आता हूँ, अपने सुख दुख को हे ठाकुर मैं रो रो कर तुम्हें सुनाता हूँ. जब याद तुम्हारी आती है, तुम मेरे हो मैं तेरा हूँ, बस और नहीं कुछ याद मुझे. ये ध्यान सदा मेरे मन में रहे, ये विनय सुनाने आया हूँ. जब याद तुम्हारी आती है मैं तेरे दर पर आता हूँ, अपने सुख दुख को हे ठाकुर मैं रो रो कर तुम्हें सुनाता हूँ। फूलों में तुम्हारी खुशबू है, पत्तों में तुम्हारी हस्ती है, पर फूल नहीं है पास मेरे, बस दो नयन चढ़ाने आया हूँ। जब याद तुम्हारी आती है मैं तेरे दर पर आता हूँ, अपने सुख दुख को हे ठाकुर मैं रो रो कर तुम्हें सुनाता हूँ। तुम मेरे प्यारे सावरिया, मेरा तुमसे हमेशा नाता है, नहीं और मेरी कोई सुनता है, मैं तुम्हें सुनाने आया हूँ। जब याद तुम्हारी आती है मैं तेरे दर पर आता हूँ, अपने सुख दुख को हे ठाकुर मैं रो रो कर तुम्हें सुनाता हूँ। मंगल मूर्ति मारुति नंदन, सकल अमंगल मूल निकंदन, पवन तने संतन हितकारी, हृदय विराजत अवध बिहारी। जय 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 बजरंग बली, महावीर हनुमान गोसाई। नटखट बंसी वाले गोकुल के राजा, मेरी अखियां तरस गई अब तो आजा आजा। नटखट बंसी वाले गोकुल के राजा, मेरी अखियां तरस गई अब तो आजा आजा। गोपी जन रास रास अभिलाषी, कौरव कालिंग कंस विनाशी, हिमकार बाणुक साम प्रकाशी, सर्व बहुत ही वस व्याखी। बोलो जय कन्हैया लाल की। नटखट बंसी वाले गोकुल के राजा, मेरी अखियां तरस गई अब तो आजा। अच्युतम केशवम कृष्ण दामोदरम, राम नारायणम जानकी वल्लभम। अच्युतम केशवम कृष्ण दामोदरम, राम नारायणम जानकी वल्लभम। कौन कहते हैं भगवान आते नहीं, तुम मीरा के जैसे बुलाते नहीं। अच्युतम केशवम कृष्ण दामोदरम, राम नारायणम जानकी वल्लभम। कौन कहते हैं भगवान खाते नहीं, बेर शबरी के जैसे खिलाते नहीं। कौन कहते हैं भगवान खाते नहीं, बेर शबरी के जैसे खिलाते नहीं। कौन कहते हैं भगवान सोते नहीं, माँ यशोदा के जैसे सुलाते नहीं। कौन कहते हैं भगवान सोते नहीं, माँ यशोदा के जैसे सुलाते नहीं। अच्युतम केशवम कृष्ण दामोदरम, राम नारायणम जानकी वल्लभम। कौन कहते हैं भगवान नाचते नहीं, गोपियों की तरह तुम नचाते नहीं। कौन कहते हैं भगवान नाचते नहीं, गोपियों की तरह तुम नचाते नहीं। नाम जपते चलो काम करते चलो, हर समय कृष्ण का ध्यान करते चलो। हर समय कृष्ण का ध्यान करते चलो, नाम जपते चलो काम करते चलो, हर समय कृष्ण का ध्यान करते चलो। अच्युतम केशवम कृष्ण दामोदरम, राम नारायणम जानकी वल्लभम। जय जय गिरिवर राज किशोरी, जय महेश मुख चंद चकोरी, जय गजबदन षडानन माता, जगत जाननी दामिनी दुति गाता। देवी पूजी पद कमल तुम्हारे, सुर नर मुनि सब होई सुखारे। मोर मनोरथ जानहु नीके, बसहु सदा उर पुर सभी के। कीन्हो प्रगट न कारण तेहि, आस कही चरण गहे बैदही। जय गजबदन षडानन माता, जगत जननी दामिनी दुति गाता। बिने प्रेम बस भई भवानी, खसी माल मूरत मुस्कानी। सादर सिहे प्रसाद सर धरहु, बोली गौरी गैरी, हर्षु हिय बरहु। सुन सिए सत्य असीस हमारी, पूजहि मन कामना तुम्हारी। नारद बचन सदा सुचि साचा, सो बरहु मिलहि जहि मनुराजा। जय गजबदन षडानन माता, जगत जननी दामिनी दुति गाता। नहीं तब आदि मध्य अवसाना, अमित प्रभाव वेद नहीं जाना। भव भव विभव पराभव कारिणी, विश्व विमोहिनी स्वबस बिहारिणी। पति देवता स्तुति महु, मात प्रथम तव रेखा। महिमा अमृत न सकहि कही, सहज शारदा शेष। सोवत तोहि सुलभ फलचारी, बरदायनी पुरारी प्यारी। मोर मनोरथ जानहु नीके, बसहु सदा उर पुर सभी के। कीन्हो प्रगट न कारण तेहि, अस कही चरण गहे बैदही। जय जय गिरिवर राज किशोरी, जय महेश मुख चंद चकोरी, जय गजबदन षडानन माता, जगत जाननी दामिनी दुति गाता। जननी मैं रामदूत हनुमान, जननी मैं रामदूत हनुमान। चरण कमल में शत शत वंदन, कर दो माँ कल्याण मिला है अवसर आज महान, जननी मैं रामदूत हनुमान। चमके कोटि सूर्य सम रघुवर, शीत चंद्र सी वाणी मधुकर, करके रावण हरण तुम्हारा, किया मृत्यु अवहान। जननी मैं रामदूत हनुमान, जननी मैं रामदूत हनुमान। सत्य वचन कहता माँ सीता, हर पल प्रभु को तुम्हारी चिंता। अश्रु नयन से झरत निरंतर व्याकुल है श्री राम, जननी मैं रामदूत हनुमान, जननी मैं रामदूत हनुमान। माघ मकरगत रवि जब होई, तीरथ पतहि आव सब कोई। देव धनुज किन्नर नरश्रेणी, आदर सादर मजहि सकल त्रिबेनी। माघ मकरगत रवि जब होई, तीरथ पतहि आव सब कोई। देव धनुज किन्नर नरश्रेणी, सादर मजहि सकल त्रिवेणी। माघ में जब सूर्य मकर राशि पर जाते हैं तब सब लोग तीर्थराज प्रयाग को आते हैं। देवता दैत्य किन्नर और मनुष्य के समूह सब आदर पूर्वक त्रिवेणी में स्नान करते हैं। वर्णानम अर्थ संघानम रसनानम चंद समापी, मंगलानम च कर्तारो, वंदे वाणी विनायको। तुलसीदास जी विनय और वंदना करते हैं। हे अक्षरों को बनाने वाली, उनके अर्थों को बनाने वाली और समझाने वाली, इन अक्षरों से जो नौरस प्रदान होते हैं उनको बनाने वाले, छंदों को बनाने वाले, जिनकी कृपा और आशीर्वाद के बिना हमारी इस अपार रचना सफल नहीं हो पाएगी। माता सरस्वती और श्री गणेश प्रभु, मैं आप दोनों को प्रणाम और वंदना करती हूँ। भय कुभय अनक आलस हूँ, नाम जपत मंगल दिसि दसहु। सुमिरो सो नाम राम गुण गाथा, करहु नाई रघुनाथई माथा। भय कुभय अनक आलस हूँ, नाम जपत मंगल दिसि दसहु। सुमिरो सो नाम राम गुण गाथा, करहु नाही रघुनाथई माथा। अच्छे भाव से, बुरे भाव से, क्रोध से या आलस्य से, किसी तरह से भी नाम जपने से दसों दिशाओं में कल्याण होता है। उसी राम नाम का स्मरण करके और रघुनाथ को मस्तक नवाकर मैं राम के गुणों का वर्णन करता हूँ। भय कुभय अनक आलस हूँ, नाम जपत मंगल दिसि दसहु। सुमिरो सो नाम राम गुण गाथा, करहु नाही रघुनाथई माथा। आरंभ है प्रचंड बोलो मस्तकों के झुंड, आज जंग की घड़ी की तुम गुहार दो। आन बान शान या की जान का हो दान, आज एक धनुष के बाण पे उतार दो। मन करे सो प्राण दे, जो मन करे सो प्राण ले, वही तो एक सर्वशक्तिमान है। विश्व की पुकार है, ये भागवत का सार है, कि युद्ध ही तो वीर का प्रमाण है। कौरवों की भीड़ हो या पांडवों का नीर हो, जो लड़ सका है वही तो महान है। जीत की हवस नहीं, किसी पे कोई बस नहीं, जिंदगी है ठोकरों पर मार दो। मौत अंत है नहीं तो मौत से भी क्यों डरे, ये जाके आसमान में दहाड़ दो। वो दया का भाव या कि शौर्य का चुनाव, या कि हार का हो घाव तुम ये सोच लो। या कि पूरे भाल पर चला रहे वे जय का लाल, लाल ये गुलाल तुम ये सोच लो। रंग केसरी हो या मृदंग केसरी हो, या कि केसरी हो लाल तुम ये सोच लो। जिस कवि की कल्पना में जिंदगी हो प्रेम गीत, उस कवि को आज तुम नकार दो। भीगती नसों में आज, फूलती रगों में आज, आग की लपट तुम बखार दो। आरंभ है प्रचंड बोल मस्तकों के झुंड, आज जंग की घड़ी की तुम गुहार दो। आन बान शान या की जान का हो दान, आज एक धनुष के बाण पे उतार दो। Okay friends, we are on day 19 today and we have a yoga prayer. Asuto ma sadgamya, tamaso ma jyotirgamya, mrityur ma amritam gamya, Om Shanti 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 Shanti. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Asuto ma sadgamya tamaso ma jyotirgamya mrityurma amritam gamya. Lead me from the untruth to the truth. Lead me from darkness to the light. Lead me from death to immortality. Om, peace, peace, peace. Lead me from Asuto ma sadgamya. Lead me from untruth to the truth. Tamaso ma jyotirgamya. Lead me from darkness to light. Mrityurma amritam gamya. Lead me from death to immortality. Om sarve bhavantu sukhina सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखा भाग भवते. ओम शांति शांति शांति. ओम सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निर्मया. सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखा भाग भवते. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Oh, may we all be happy, may we all be healthy, free from disease, may we all see what is auspicious, let no one suffer. Oh peace, oh peace, oh peace. Friends, today we are going to read from 95 chapter until 98, and soon, like in 2 days, we will be finishing the Ramayana reading. So I hope you guys are reading along with me. I will read this again because I have a hard copy of this book also by C. Rajagopalachari. Okay, so 95 to 98. See, we are finishing what we started like 21 days ago. So it's already 21 day of 21 January today, and we are finishing like 19th chapter today. I started on 2nd or 3rd. I was not able to upload daily because of some internet connection problem. Even from yesterday on, my day 19, day 18 is being uploaded, and it's still like 80%. So I have a internet problem here in my home, but not in the university. Okay, so avenged. O Duryodhan, you are yet alive. Hear the news and rejoice. All the Panchalas have been slaughtered. The sons of Pandavas have also been all done to death. The entire army of theirs has been destroyed. We made a night attack on them when they were asleep. There are only 7 survivors now on the Pandava side. On our side, Kripacharya, Kritavarma and I remain. Thus said Ashwatthama to the dying Duryodhan, who on hearing this slowly opened his eyes and with struggling breath gasped out these words. Ashwatthama, you have indeed done for me what neither the great Bhishma nor the violent Karan could achieve. You have gladdened my heart, and I die happy. Saying this, Duryodhan expired. When he saw the unexpected destruction of his army as a result of the attack during sleep, Yudhishthir gave way to grief and broke down. At the very moment of victory, we have been totally defeated. The vanquished have indeed trumped Draupada's children, who survived the onslaught of the formidable Karna, have by our unwariness been crushed and destroyed like vermin. We have allowed ourselves to be destroyed like a merchant ship which, having successfully crossed the big seas, returned home but capsizes in a ditch and is lost. Draupadi was overwhelmed by inconsolable grief. She came to Dharmaputra's side and wept. Is there no one to avenge my children's slaughter by destroying this great sinner, Ashwatthama? She cried. When she said this, the Pandavas immediately went out in search of the murderer. They looked for him in all sorts of places and found him, at least on the bank of Gangas, hiding himself behind Vyasa. When he saw the Pandavas and Janardhan approaching, Ashwathama quietly took up the blade of grass and charged it with the mantra of destruction and sent it forward, saying, "May this destroy the race of Pandavas." And it went straight to the womb of Uttara, who bore in her son in her the son of Abhimanyu. The race of Pandavas would have been destroyed thereby, but for the intervention of Sri Krishna, who saved the child in mother's womb. The child was Parikshit, who was later crowned by Yudhishthir when the Pandavas retired to the forest. Ashwathama pried out the shining jewel that was part of his head and gave it to the Bhima, acknowledging his defeat, and went away to the forest. Ashwathama pried out the shining jewel that was part of his head and gave it to the Bhima, acknowledging his defeat, and went away to the forest. Bhima took the great jewel and going to the Draupadi said, "Angel of spotless purity, this is for you. The man, the man who killed your beloved son has been vanquished. Duryodhan has been destroyed. I have drunk the blood of Dushasan. I have arranged a great outrage and discharged my debts." Draupadi took the jewel and going up to the Yudhishthir, bowed and said, "Faultless king, it befits you to wear this in your crown. Who can give solace?" When the battle was over, Hastinapur was a city of mourning. All the women and children were weeping and lamenting their slain, nearest and dearest. With many thousands of bereaved women accompanying Dhritarashtra went to the field of battle. At Kurukshetra, the scene of terrible destruction, the blind king thought of all that had passed and wept aloud. But of what avail was weeping? O king, words of consolation addressed to a bereaved person do not remove his grief. Thousands of rulers have given up their lives in the battle for your sons. It is now time that you should arrange for proper funeral ceremonies for the dead, said Sanjaya to Dhritarashtra. It is not right to grieve for those who die in battle. When souls have left their bodies, there is nothing like relationship, nothing like brother or son or relative. Your sons have really no connection with you. Relationships end with death, being only a bodily connection and a mere minor incident in the soul's eternal life. From the nowhere do lives come, and with death they again disappear into nowhere. Why should we weep for them? Those who die in a battle after a heroic fight go as guests to receive Indra's hospitality. Grieving for what is past, you cannot gain anything in the nature of dharma. Grieving for what is past, you cannot gain. Grieving for what is past, you cannot gain anything in the nature of dharma, pleasure, or wealth. This is very important. Grieving for what is past, you cannot gain anything in the nature of dharma, pleasure, or wealth. Thus, in many more ways did the wise and good Vidura try to assuage the king's grief. Vyasa also approached Dhritarashtra tenderly and said, "Dear son, there is nothing that you do not know and which you have to learn from me. You know very well that all living beings must die." Vyasa also approached Dhritarashtra tenderly and said, "Dear son, there is nothing that you do not know and which you have to learn from me. You know very well that all living beings must die. This great battle came to reduce Earth's burden, as I have heard from Lord Vishnu himself. That is why this calamity could not be prevented. Henceforth, Yudhishthir is your son. You should try to love him, and in that way bear the burden of life, giving up the grief." So Vyasadev also came to to Dhritarashtra, who was grieving and lamenting for his died sons. Vyasadev came to Dhritarashtra and said, Yudhishthir is your son, you should try to love him and in that way bear the burden of life, giving up grief. Making his way through the crowd of weeping women, Yudhishthir approached Dhritarashtra and bowed before him. Dhritarashtra embraced Yudhishthir, but there was no love in that embrace. Then Bhimsena was announced to the blind king. Come, said Dhritarashtra. But Vasudeva was wise. Then Bhimsena was announced to the blind king. Come, said Dhritarashtra. So Dhritarashtra was calling Bhima to come to him, but Vasudeva was wise. He gently pushed Bhima aside and placed an iron figure before the blind Dhritarashtra. Knowing that old king's exceeding anger, Dhritarashtra hugged the metal statue to his bosom in firm embrace, and then the thought came to him of how this man had killed every one of his sons, and his wrath increased to such a pitch that the image was crushed to pieces in his embrace. Ha, my anger has deceived me, cried Dhritarashtra. I have killed dear Bhima. Then Krishna said to blind king, Lord, I knew that it would be thus and I prevented the disaster. You have not killed Bhimasena, you have crushed only an iron image that I placed instead before you. May your anger be appeased with what you have done to this image. Bhima is still alive. Lord, I knew that it would be thus. I prevented the disaster. You have not killed Bhimasena, you have crushed only an iron image that I placed instead before you. May your anger be appeased with what you have done to this image. Bhima is still alive. See, this is so depthful. The king was composed somewhat and he blessed Bhima and other Pandava, who then took leave of him and went to Gandhari. Vyasa was with Gandhari. O queen, said the rishi, be not angry with Pandavas. Did you not tell them, even when the battle began, where there is dharma, there surely be victory? And so it happened. So Vyasa rishi also went along with Pandavas to Gandhari and told her that be not angry with Pandavas and you bless them in the Mahabharata that where there is dharma there surely will be victory, and so it happened. It is not right to let the mind dwell on what is past and nurse one's anger. You must now call to aid your great fortitude. It is not right to let mind dwell on what is past. It is not right to let the mind dwell on what is past and nurse one's anger. You must now call to aid your great fortitude. Gandhari said, Bhagwan, I do not envy the victory of Pandavas. It is true that grief for the death of my sons has robbed me of my understanding. These Pandavas also are my son. I know that Dushasan and Shakuni brought about this destruction of our people. Arjuna and Bhima are blameless. Pride brought this battle about, and my sons deserve the fate they met. I do not complain about it, but then in Vasudeva's presence, Bhima called Duryodhan to battle and they fought, and knowing that Duryodhan was stronger and could not be defeated in a single combat, Bhima struck him below the navel and killed him. Vasudeva was looking on. This was wrong, and it is this that I find it impossible to forgive. Bhima, who heard this, came near and said, Mother, I did this to save myself in battle. Whether it was right or wrong, you should bear with me. Your son was invincible in combat, and so I did in self protection what was undoubtedly wrong. He called Yudhishthir to play and deceived me. We had been wronged by your son in so many ways. He would not give back the kingdom of which he took unlawful possession, and you know what your sons did to blameless Draupadi. If we had killed your sons on the spot when he misbehaved in the hall of assembly, surely you would not have blamed us. Bound by Dharmraja's vow, we restrained ourselves with difficulty then. We have since discharged honor's debt and found satisfaction in battle. Mother, you should forgive me. Dear son, if you had left but one out of my 100 sons and killed all the rest and satisfied your anger, I and my old husband would have found solace in that surviving son for the rest of our lives. Where is Dharmputra? Call him, she said. Hearing this, Yudhishthir trembled as he, with clasped hands, approached Gandhari, whose eyes were bound in a cloth in loyal lifelong penance for her husband's blindness. He bowed low before her and said softly, Queen, the cruel Yudhishthir who killed your son stands before you, fit to be cursed. Do curse me who have committed great sin. I care not for life or for kingdom. Saying this, he fell on the ground and touched her feet. Gandhari heaved a deep sigh and stood mute. She turned her head aside, knowing that if through the cloth with which her eyes were bound, her vision fell on the prostrate Yudhishthir, he would be reduced to ashes on the spot. But through a little space in the cloth, even as she turned her face away, her eyes fell on the toe of prostrate Yudhishthir. At once, say the poet, the toe was charred black. Arjuna knew the power of bereaved Gandhari's wrath and hid himself behind Vasudeva. Arjuna knew the power of bereaved Gandhari's wrath and hid himself behind Vasudeva. The wise and good Gandhari suppressed all her anger and blessed the Pandavas and sent them to Kunti. Gandhari turned to Draupadi, who was in lamentation, having lost all his sons. Gandhari turned to Draupadi, who was in lamentation, having lost her sons. Dear girl, said Gandhari, do not grieve. Who can give solace to you and me? It is through my fault that the great tribe has been destroyed altogether. Yudhishthir's anguish. The Pandavas performed the till and water ceremonies for the peace of the souls of the dead warriors and camped on the bank of the Gangas for a month. The Pandavas performed the till and water ceremonies for the peace of the souls of dead warriors and camped on the bank of the Ganga for a month. One day Narada appeared before Yudhishthir. Son, through Krishna's grace, the valor of Arjun, and the power of your dharma, you were victorious, and you are the sovereign lord of the land. Are you happy? He asked. Yudhishthir replied, Bhagwan, it is true that the kingdom has come into my possession, but my kinsmen are all gone. We have lost sons that were dear. This victory appears to me but a great defeat. O Narada, we took our own brother for an enemy and killed him. Even Karna, who stood rooted like a rock in his honor and at whose valor the world wondered, This terrible act of slaying our own brothers was the result of our sinful attachment to our possession. Karna, on the other hand, kept the promise he gave to our mother and abstained from killing us. Oh, I am a sinner, a low fellow who murdered his own brother. My mind is troubled greatly at this thought. Karna's feet were so much like our mother's feet in the large hall when that great outrage was committed, and my anger rose. When I looked at his feet, which were so much like Kunti's feet, my wrath subsided. I remember that now, and my grief increases. So saying, Yudhishthir heaved a deep sigh. Narada told him all about Karna and the curses that had been pronounced on him on various occasions. Once, when Karna saw that Arjuna was superior to him in the archery, he approached Drona and entreated him to teach him how to wield the Brahmastra. Drona declined, saying it was not open to him to instruct any but a Brahmana of faultless conduct or Kshatriya who had purified himself by much penance. Thereupon Karna went to the Mahendra hills and deceived Parshurama by saying that he was a Brahmana and became his disciple. From him he obtained instruction in archery and the use of many astras. New One day, when Karna was practicing with his bow in the forest near Parshurama's ashram, a Brahman's cow was accidentally hit and killed. The Brahmana was angry and uttered a curse on Karna. In battle, your chariot wheels will stuck in the mud, and you will be done to death, even like this innocent cow which you have killed. Parshurama was exceedingly fond of Karna and taught him all the archery he knew and instructed him fully in the use and the withdrawing of the Brahmastra. One day, however, he discovered that the disciple was not a Brahman. It happened that an insect bit a hole into Karna's thigh when one afternoon the teacher had fallen asleep on Karna's lap. Karna bore the acute pain quietly and did not stir, lest the master should wake up. The warm blood trickling from the wound woke up Parshurama. When he saw what had happened, he was angry. You are a Kshatriya, otherwise you could not have borne this physical pain without stirring. Tell me the truth. You are not a Brahman. You have deceived your teacher, fool. When your hour comes, your knowledge of astras will fail you, and what you have learned from me through deception will not avail you. Parshurama's wrath against the Kshatriya is well known, and when he discovered that Karna was a Kshatriya, he cursed him thus in anger. Karna was free in making gifts. One day Indra, who was Arjuna's friend, came in the garb of Brahman and begged of Karna for a gift of divine earring and armor with which he had been born. Karna took them out and gave them away accordingly. From that time, Karna's strength was reduced. Karna's pledge to his mother Kunti that he would not kill more than one of the five of you. Parshurama's curse, the anger of Brahmans whose cow was killed by Karna, the way in which his charioteer Salya depressed him by underrating his valor, and Vasudeva's stratagem. These combine to bring about Karna's end. Do not grieve, believing that you alone caused this death. Thus said Narada, but Yudhishthir was not consoled by these words. Do not blame yourself, son, for Karna's death, said Kunti. His father, the sun's lord himself, pleaded with him. He begged of him to give up the wicked heart Duryodhan and join you. I too tried hard, but he would not listen to us. He brought his end on himself. You deceived us, mother, said Yudhishthir, by hiding the secret of his birth from us. You became thus the cause of this great sin. Many women never be able to keep a secret henceforth. May women never be able to keep a secret henceforth. This is the poet's story of how Yudhishthir cursed all women in his anguish over having killed his own elder brother. It is common notion that women cannot keep secrets, and the story is a beautiful conception illustrating that popular belief. It may be that in worldly affairs it is an advantage to be able to keep secrets, but it is not a great virtue from the point of view of moral character, and the woman need not grieve over an incapacity of this kind. If indeed Kunti's legacy still persists, it may be that in worldly affair it is an advantage to be able to keep secrets, but it is not a great virtue from the point of view of moral character, and the woman need not grieve over an incapacity of this kind if indeed Kunti's legacy still persists. The affectionate temperament natural to women may perhaps incline them to openness. The affectionate temperament natural to women may perhaps incline them to openness, but some women do keep secrets very well indeed, and not a man possess this ability either. It is fallacy to attribute the difference that arise out of training and occupation on nature itself and imagine some qualities as peculiar to a sex. Yudhishthir's comforted. Yudhishthir's pain of mind increased every day as he thought of all the kinsmen that had been killed. He has stricken with intense remorse and decided he must give up the world, go to the forest and do penance to expiate his sins. I see no joy or good, he said to his brothers, in taking up the office of king or in worldly environment. Do rule the land yourselves, leaving me free to go to the forest. Arjuna talked of the nobility of family life and the entire good one may do without taking sannyasa. Bhimsena also spoke harshly. So Yudhishthir wanted to leave everything and wanted to go to the forest. As he's saying that I see no joy or good taking up the office of kings or in the worldly enjoyment. Do rule the land yourself, leaving me free to go to the forest. Arjun talked to the nobility of family life and the entire good one. So Arjun then tried to make him understand the nobility of family life and the entire good one may do without taking sannyasa. Bhimasena also spoke harshly. You talk, alas, he said, like a dull witted person who has committed to a memory the text of the Shastra without understanding their sense. Sannyasa is not the dharma of Kshatriya. The duty of Kshatriya is to live an active life and perform his proper task, not to go to the forest renouncing activity. You talk, alas, he said, like a dull witted person who has committed to a memory the text of the Shastras without understanding their sense. Sannyasa is not the dharma of Kshatriya. The duty of Kshatriya is to live an active life and perform his proper task, not to go to the forest renouncing activity. Nakula also contested the propriety of Dharamputra proposal and insisted the path of work was the right one to follow and the way of sannyasa was best beset with difficulties. Nakula also contested the propriety of Dharamputra's proposal and insisted that the path of work was the right one to follow and the way of sannyasa was beset with difficulties. Sahadeva also argued likewise and entreated, You are my father, my mother, my teacher, as well as brother. Do not leave us, bear with us. Draupadi also spoke. It was right we killed Duryodhan and his men. Why should we regret it? Among the duties of a king is included the inflicting of just punishment. It cannot be avoided and it is an essential part of the ruler's duty. You have meted just punishment to evildoers. There is no cause whatsoever for the contrition. It is now your sacred duty to take up the burden of governing the land and according to Dharma. It is now your sacred duty to take up the burden of governing the land and according to Dharma cease grieving. Then Vyasa spoke to Yudhishthira at length and explained where his duty lay, pointing out precedents and persuaded him to go to the city and take up the burden of ruling the land. Then Vyasa spoke to Yudhishthira at the length and explained his duty lay, pointing out precedents and persuaded him to go to the city and take up the burden of ruling land. Yudhishthira was duly crowned at Hastinapur. Before taking up the duties of the state, Yudhishthira went to where Bhishma lay on his bed of arrows. Yudhishthira was duly crowned at Hastinapur. And then he went to Bhishma Pitama, where Bhishma lay on his bed of arrows awaiting his death and took his blessings and instruction in Dharma. These instruction of Bhishma Acharya to King Yudhishthira is the famous Santi Parva of Mahabharata. After the discourse was over, Bhishma's soul passed out. The king went to Ganga and offered liberation. In accordance with the ancient custom for the peace of the departed soul, after the ceremony was over, Yudhishthira went up the bank. There, as he stood for a while, all the tragic events came back to his mind. After the ceremony was over, Yudhishthira went up the bank. There, as he stood for a while, all the tragic events came back to his mind, and overcome by intense grief, he feels senseless on the ground like an elephant struck down by the hunter. Bhima went up to his big brother and kissed him tenderly and spoke to him in soothing words. Dhritarashtra also came up and said to Yudhishthira, "You should not grieve like this. Arise and, assisted by your brothers and friends, reign over the kingdom that awaits your rule. Your duty now is to do what pertains to the office of king. Leave grief to Gandhari and me. You achieved victory in the battle in accordance with Dharma of warriors. The duties appertaining to the victory awaits your attention now. Fool that I was, I did not pay heed to the words of Vidura and committed a great error. I listened to the ignorant words of Duryodhan and deceived myself. Like gold seen in dream, the glory has vanished. Like gold seen in dream, the glory has vanished. My 100 sons have disappeared into the world of nowhere, but I have you as my son. Now do not grieve." Friends, tomorrow on day 20, we will be reading from envy to Yudhishthira rules. Thank you, my dear friends, for reading along with me. This is a great scripture of wisdom I hope we all can acquire this knowledge, this wisdom, and it also relates to the modern day people in somewhat. Someone can relate their characters to Yudhishthir, Arjun, Duryodhan, Shakuni, Draupadi, Gandhari, Dhritarashtra, and so many different and beautiful characters were portrayed in this Mahabharata in order to make us understand that we should not do evil things. We should try to be with dharma, but sometimes when situations are happening, we often forget how to process that feeling, whether it's a feeling of grief, whether it's a feeling of being deceived, or whether we need to deceive someone. All such feelings, we don't know how to process them. So one should always keep on moving forward, because there was very good learning which we learned today. That was very nice in today's chapter. Where is that? When Vyasa was telling Yudhishthir, yes, grieving for what is past, you cannot gain anything in the nature of dharma, pleasure, or wealth. Because when you are grieving, or when you are lost, when you are in anger, when you are in pain, when you are suffering, or when you are in also in too much pleasure, or in too much lust, greed, this cannot gain anything in the nature of dharma, pleasure, or wealth. You have to be an active person in the life, and we have to be like here, when he wanted to leave everything and wanted to go to forest. Here, yeah, he was told that it is now your sacred duty to take up the burden of governing the land according to dharma. Cease grieving. Yeah. And also, I think we should always, um, like, we should be pure in our intentions, and active in our attentions. Pure intentions, active attention. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. असतो मा सत्काम्या तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गम्या मृत्युर्मा अमृताम गाम्यो. ओम शांति शांति शांति. असतो मा सत्गम्या तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गम्या मृत्युर्मा अमृताम गम्यो. ओम शांति शांति शांति. असतो मा सद्गम्या तामसो मा ज्योतिर्गम्या मृत्युर्मा अमृताम गम्या. ओम शांति शांति शांति. असतो मा सद्गम्या तामसो मा ज्योतिर्गम्या मृत्युर्मा अमृताम गम्या. ओम शांति शांति शांति. असतो मा सद्गम्या तामसो मा ज्योतिर्गम्या मृत्युर्मा अमृताम गम्या. ओम शांति शांति शांति. असतो मा सद्गम्या तामसो मा ज्योतिर्गम्या मृत्युर्मा अमृताम गम्या. ओम शांति शांति शांति. असतो मा सद्गम्या तामसो मा ज्योतिर्गम्या मृत्युर्मा अमृताम गम्या. ओम शांति शांति शांति. असतो मा सद्गम्या तामसो मा ज्योतिर्गम्या मृत्युर्मा अमृताम गम्या. ओम शांति शांति शांति. ओम शांति शांति शांति. Lead me from untruth to the truth. Lead me from darkness to light. Lead me from death to immortality. Om peace peace peace. Oh, may we all be happy, may we all be healthy, free from disease, may we all see what is auspicious, let no one suffer. Oh peace, oh peace, peace, peace. Thank you, my dear friends. Thanks a lot. Take care. Have a very nice day ahead.